you are such a blessing, and you may not even be aware of it. You may not be aware because you may be focusing on your current circumstances, or perhaps you might be focusing on setbacks or past failures, or just perhaps all the things that's going on in life. And God knows we've all been through a lot, especially recently with everything going on. Or perhaps, you're focusing on wondering why at this point in life you're not further ahead than you planned. And sometimes it's hard to see ourselves as a blessing to others when we don't see it with the naked eyes. And I want to encourage you all with a few things. I just did a live event not too long ago. And in that live event, I talked about some of the recent conferences and things that I've been to in this past year. And I've had the pleasure of being around people, one person in particular that, my goodness, he's making over $200 million, which, it's a lot of money, right? And in other cases where I've been around a number of people who are doing extremely well, what the world would say are highly successful in what they do. And here's what I noticed. When I really got some time to spend some time with some of these people, and I was there for a couple of days, and being able to just really spend time having lunch, or just, sitting at the table with some of these people. You want to know what I realized? You have just as much talent, if not more, than many of the people that I've already met that are out there from a worldly point of view doing extremely well. And get this. It's not because, I'm not saying this because maybe they don't read their Bible and they don't pray and they're not Christians and you are. No. They love God. They're doing their thing, right? So I asked myself, what is the difference between some of these people that I've had the pleasure of the last year of meeting, and some of the people that I've had a chance to meet either from my podcast or maybe one of my social media channels, and especially from some of the newer members who've joined the Unlocking Greatness community. For many of you, we've been having our open enrollment for the past 2 weeks now, and it's been phenomenal. We've had people joining from all around the world. And what I notice is when I greet and speak to the members in the Unlocking Greatness community, and at all levels, black, white, rich, poor, Republican, Democrat, it does not matter. We've had people from, nurses, and I think some people have their doctorate degrees, to people that don't have a degree at all, or didn't even finish high school. It just depends. It's just such a variety of people, which I really love. But what I've noticed across the board from speaking to just about everyone that's joined, I've noticed a common thread in terms of what is the difference. The difference is mindset. Is what we really believe about ourselves and the story we're telling ourselves. The difference is some of us are still holding on to the past, what should have gone differently or what didn't work out, or not feeling qualified. We tend to mix worthiness with self-confidence. And we had an entire live workshop on that with members inside the Unlocking Greatness community. It was a really, really good workshop, and they learned the difference between the two, because I always thought they were the same. I actually didn't know that there was a major difference between self-worthiness and your self-confidence. And I didn't realize that self-confidence really is the outward, right? Getting the degree or running the business or whatever, having the success out there that you can see with your eyes. But worthiness is how you truly value and see yourself, your self-worth. It has nothing to do, or very little to do, I should say, with anything outside of you. It's all internal. And that's the difference that I've noticed with some of these mega millionaires that I've had time to sit down and get to know and have meals with, and those who are really struggling with just trying to get started, let alone, have great success with what they're doing. It's not so much the talent. You would think it's the talent. Now, some of them are more self-disciplined, don't get me wrong, right? But it boils down to the mindset and how they see themselves. There are members who've joined the Unlocking Greatness community, especially some of the coaches I'm thinking about right now, that could literally run circles around some of the people that I've seen be on some of the biggest stages that are making millions upon millions of dollars. There are people, and you may be one of them, I'm sure. There are people that even without preparing, put them up on a stage against someone else and watch what happens. Not that it's a competition, but I'm trying to make a point. If the talent is on both sides, are you all following me? If the talent is on both sides and the gifting is there, what has been the difference between those that really go out there and excel and do and those that stay stuck in that planning mode, right? Masking over planning and getting things perfect, masking that, right? Fear just gets masked in all of that when we get into that mode of, well, I'm not ready, I'm not sure if I can do it, and this and that. There are people that stay in that mode, and there are people that go out there and just do what they got to do, scared, knees shaking. And this is what I want to encourage you all with. It's okay to be scared, to be nervous at times. It's okay to not have the complete clarity at times. And by the way, clarity comes in motion. I won't even get into that right now. We had a whole class on that one, or at least that was part of one of our workshops that we had, right? It's okay. It's okay sometimes you have self-doubt or feel that imposter syndrome or what have you. That's because you've not been that person yet doing that new thing that you're out there trying to do. What I want to encourage you all with, my dear sisters and brothers, is you are a blessing just the way you are. The talents and the gifts that God has given you, baby, God did not make a mistake. There are people that only you will be able to reach that other people can't reach simply because of your life and what you have been through. Everything that you've gone through, even the quote-unquote mistakes that you believe that you've made, every single thing is a setup for where you are heading, so that when God gets you in that position, when you rise to that place where you not only are a blessing for this generation, but the generations to come, you will be able to maintain it and keep it because of what you've gone through and what you've learned along the way. But the enemy does an amazing, amazing, amazing job to try to get you to doubt yourself and to stop yourself, because the enemy can't stop you. Jeremiah 1:5, Ephesians 1:5 teaches us we're predestined. The enemy can't stop you, but the enemy can do an amazing job to try to get you to stop yourself. I want you all to remember how important your mindset is, the way that you think and see yourself. Many of us don't even know what it means to be an heir of God. That's Romans 8:17. What does that even mean? What does that mean? I think it's Romans 8:11 that teaches us the same Spirit that rose Jesus Christ from the dead lives in us. Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean when the Bible is teaching us that we need to think of whatever is pure, whatever is holy, whatever is lovely? What does that mean? Why does the Bible teach us if we have faith as small as a mustard seed, what we can do with that? Why does the Bible teach us we can tell this mountain to go throw itself into the sea and it'll be done? Why does the Bible teach us asking whatever you believe you will receive? Where is this coming from? Is it I'm not praying hard enough, not reading my Bible hard enough? Mindset. That's the difference between the two groups of people, I notice. It's not even privilege. It's not, maybe they were just born rich. No, they were not the ones I met. Maybe they had a lot of support and a lot of help. No, they did not. They went through a lot of adversity. They struggled with self-doubt. They definitely struggled with the imposter syndrome. Many times they had no idea what was even the next step to take, but they moved forward anyway. They looked at failure and turned around and looked at it as, what do I learn from this? And you all know I like to coin the phrase, how do I gather the gold from this, right? Where's the gold at in this? Because I'm not going to let this pain go to waste for nothing. I'm trying to encourage you all, my dear brothers and sisters, to remind you, you have tremendous value and you are needed. You are a blessing. And I know sometimes we can get caught up in looking at our circumstances, or maybe the bank account balance, or the setbacks, or maybe someone betrayed us, or just life itself and all the things that are going on. Sometimes we can get caught up into looking at all those things, right? And forget that we are a blessing in what we've been put here to do. God didn't make a mistake when he gave you those goals and dreams. So I want to encourage you, my dear brothers and sisters, get back up. Dust yourself off and get on back up again. I know you may be tired. It's okay to rest. You know that. You can get a little rest. But don't you stay low for too long. Don't you stay low for too long, because you were meant to rise. You were meant to soar. You were meant to rise above your circumstances. You were meant to imitate your Father, command your day. You were meant to be great. Greatness is inside of you, is who God is. You were meant to use those God-given gifts and talents to be a gift and a blessing to people in the world. No matter how small you think that gift may be. I did a podcast last week. I can't remember the title of it, but it was all about the instruments, how we all are different instruments. Your part may be the drum. Your part may be the violin. Your part may be just the flute or the piano or what have you, right? We all are part of this beautiful orchestra, and we need you. And for those of you who are out there kicking butt and doing really well, saying, Z, I'm out here doing my thing, then take it higher. We need you. Don't be apologizing by staying low because you're scared. I heard one person the other day say, Z, I think I'm scared of just growth. I'm scared of just, taking it even higher. Okay, well, we got to work on that. Don't apologize by staying low to appease others. Does that mean you need to work on getting more focus? Yeah. Does that mean maybe get yourself into a good community or good mentorship? I absolutely support that. I believe being in the right environment. That's what the Unlocking Greatness community is all about. And by the way, for those who may not be aware, we've been having open enrollment for the last 2 weeks inside the Unlocking Greatness community. The website is unlockinggreatness.com. We put the introductory rates back on there. It's just been amazing. People have been joining from all around the world. We have been having the most phenomenal live workshop sessions for members only. Phenomenal guest speakers coming in for business and for personal development. It's been absolutely amazing, especially now that we have our own custom branded app, which makes it a lot easier for people to be notified and attend the events and things. So you all are more than welcome to join. But yes, mentorship is important as well. Absolutely, because you got to work on that mindset. My primary role and one of my primary goals is how, God, do I work in partnership with you to make your words come alive for your people? We're reading our Bibles and we're praying and everyone's out there doing and doing and doing. But why? Why is it that many, many believers don't see the results in their lives? Is it that they're not praying hard enough? No, I don't think so. Is that they're not reading their Bibles enough? No, I don't think so. Maybe to some degree. It's because if we sit and pray, you can pray for 24 hours a day. And you all know I support prayer. You can read your Bible and memorize it from the front to the back. And there's not too many pages in my Bible that's not completely marked up, right? But when you're done with those prayers and you stand yourself up and you head throughout your day and you don't really believe it's possible. It's almost as if you've canceled out what you've just prayed. Now, that doesn't mean your whole prayer is canceled. Let me be clear on that. But if you don't believe it, if your perception's off, if you're not aware of the negative thought patterns that you're having, constantly thinking through the past or constantly being down on yourself, constantly feeling like you don't know which way to go or you've done something wrong or you should be further along, you have to understand, baby, as an heir of God, your very thoughts are powerful. It is as if you're creating that same reality over again and again and again. This is why I keep asking God, help your words come alive for your people. Help them to understand and see, or work through me to help others understand and see. The mindset is just as important. How you see yourself, how you see God, how you even show up. One of the live workshop sessions we have scheduled for this Monday is on negativity and distractions. One of the members inside of the Unlocking Greatness community, she said, Z, I really just want to start learning more about how to deal with negativity. Like, when you walk in a room, if somebody, is negative or, she's like, I don't want to be responding the way I normally do or reacting the way I normally do. Can we do a workshop session on that? You know what I did? I moved some other things around because this topic is so important, and I scheduled that for one of our next live workshop sessions. That's the one we're actually having tomorrow, on negativity and distractions, because I know well enough to know if the enemy can just take your energy, to drain your energy, If the enemy can just distract you long enough so you're not walking in purpose, if the enemy can just get you to start doubting yourself, if the enemy can just start working through somebody to get you to instead of moving forward with what you're supposed to do, have somebody maybe give you the silent treatment, right? Or maybe your boss, or I don't know, anyone, any situation happened, or maybe an unexpected bill shows up. Anything to get you to respond to negativity with negativity, then he wins, at least in that particular moment. Because the enemy can't stop you, baby. But he can do his best to try to get you to stop yourself. My dear brothers and sisters, growing is not an option. You have a responsibility to grow. Because God has called you for greater. You have been called to contribute to what we call mankind, to the kingdom of God. You've been called. You've been called to contribute your part. And the enemy will do every single thing he can to distract you, because we all know motivation by itself is not enough to do anything. Motivation just gets you going for just a moment. You have to be transformed. Romans 12:2. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Show up differently. Walk into a room, and this is what we're talking about tomorrow in tomorrow's live workshop session. I told them I want every member to be at a point where you walk in a room and the atmosphere has to adjust to you. When you're in a meeting, whether it's a business meeting at work or a conference, or even at home with your family, dealing with some family members, when you walk in that room, the atmosphere has to adjust to you. And I'm referring to the new you that's at a higher level. You're going to look at distractions completely different. I'm going to read you all just a little bit from my book, Necessary, and I'm going to close out this recording. But I want you to be reminded that you are a blessing. And despite everything that's been going on in your life, you are needed. Some of you have a book that's been sitting in you for years that the world has been waiting on, and you don't even understand how important that book is, because somebody needs to read it and hear your story, because only you can relate to them. You all know how the enemy came after me when I wrote Necessary. All of the things that came my way, I had no idea it would impact thousands of people all over the world. I didn't know the value in my story. Some of you have a nonprofit organization or program or something that God has planted in you to get up and going. And you've been, I want to say this with love and respect. You all know I love you. But you've been messing around trying to fix a website and get this together and get that together for far too long, baby. It does not take all of that. Movement, belief, and many times fear masks itself. It masks itself as overplanning. It masks itself as, well, I just like things to be perfect, when really the underlying current is fear. The way we see ourselves, concerned about what other people think or say. What if it don't work out? Well, what if it do work out? You only have to get it right one time, baby. Just one time. Do you realize that you can write a book or produce whatever it is that God has told you to do? Do you realize one person, just the right person, can mention your name and your life can be changed overnight? You can write that book and someone who knows Oprah can get a hold of Oprah and say, Oprah, you need to check this book out and read it. Not that I'm bringing her up as an example. I'm just making a point. Normally I won't even mention names, but you get my point. You get my point. The mention of your name to one person, someone can mention your name one time, or your product or your service, and it can change your entire life overnight. And the enemy knows this, but do you know it? Baby, that's why the enemy comes after you, to try to keep you distracted. That's why he uses negativity so well. And that's why he don't mind you praying all day. He don't care about that. He don't care about you praying all day and reading your Bible, as long as you don't believe it. As long as you get up and walk away from that prayer having self-doubts, not moving forth with the plans. I'm just waiting. And there's nothing wrong with waiting. There's times when we do need to wait. But there are many, many times when God has already given us the green light. And we sitting there, not knowing our worthiness, devaluing ourselves, and allowing another day, another distraction to come our way, spending half the day scrolling on social media or doing this or doing that, instead of just getting out there, being okay with making the mistakes, taking the risk. We only live one time. You all know my son is in a gravesite just a few blocks away from me right now. We only get one go round in the physical. And I'm praying to God that this message encourages someone. Baby, it's time to live, to get out there and do what God has called you to do. And sometimes, yes, it is but not even sometimes. I think it is very important to get yourself in the right community, the right environment. I'm very high on coaches and mentors. I have several coaches and mentors myself. Very high on it. Because sometimes you don't even see your blind spots. And that's why it's important to get the help that you need. Let me read from my book, Necessary. I'm going to read a little bit from chapter 14 and a little bit from one other chapter, and I'm going to close out. Chapter 14, the affirmation is, I won't apologize for going higher. It says, I won't apologize for going higher. I won't apologize for dreaming so big that it makes others uncomfortable. I won't apologize for reaching so high that I must elevate and be completely transformed. I can't apologize for going higher because my Father has created me to soar. Therefore, I must rise. My dear brothers and sisters, you must rise. It is not an option. Because you were never created to stay low to the ground. You were created to soar. You have a responsibility to grow. Does that mean you don't rest at times? No, that doesn't mean that. You get some rest when you need rest. You can't pour from an empty cup. Of course you have to get refueled. It's what the Unlocking Greatness community is all about. The majority of the members that join the Unlocking Greatness community, we've had people join from South Africa, from Brazil, from all around the world, from all over the place, right? The majority of them, especially the first couple of weeks in the community, I've realized, wow, we got to make sure they get their cups filled because they've been pouring and giving into others for so long. No wonder they're not out there pursuing their dreams. They're tired. So yes, you have to get yourself where you need to be. That's why the Necessary Retreat, I included that for all of the community memberships. We're keeping the Necessary Retreat or putting the Necessary Retreat into the memberships for everyone at no extra charge. And you all know that retreat used to sell by itself for $4.97. We have it in there for all community members because I realize, my goodness, just about every last one of them need a retreat. They all need to be encouraged and built back up again. So yes, you need to get your rest and get the help that you need, get the encouragement. But you have a responsibility to grow. Don't you stay low for too long. Because you are a blessing, baby, whether you realize that or not. You can look at that bank account balance all you want, or that situation, or that relationship that ended, and all of that. Yeah, You may go through some ups and downs, but it's only going to strengthen you for where God is taking you. You're still a blessing. You still got purpose. You still have value. The world still needs you. And watch what begins to happen when you step out there and you, even if your knees are shaking and you're fearful and you feel the imposter syndrome, when you continue to show up day after day, and this is what I call it, putting pressure on God's integrity. When pressure is put on God's integrity, I think the Apostle Joshua Selman is the first one I've heard that said that. Something about putting pressure on God's integrity. I love those words, putting pressure on God's integrity, meaning you stay yourself at the foot of that cross. You love Him, you serve Him, you give, you show up, you do what He's calling you to do. When that pressure is on His integrity, God defends His name. He sees you in everything that you're going through right now. But are you still going to show up? You still going to trust in God? Add that pressure on God's integrity. He welcomes it. Let me read one more passage to you all. In my book, Necessary, there's a chapter titled, If I Were Your Enemy. If I Were Your Enemy, I am going to read a little bit. Let me grab my glasses here, you all. And I apologize for the mic. I'm not on my regular mic. In these moments of inspiration, it tends to come at me when I'm out and about. So I'm on this little very cheap microphone that's attached to my phone, so I know the sound is not what it normally is on my podcast. But I've come to find it's the message that counts the most, so hopefully you all can still hear me clearly. But on page 245 and 246, I want to read a little bit to you about how the enemy works in our lives. So if I were your enemy, this is what I would do. And this chapter is titled, If I Were Your Enemy. So I'm on page 245 for those who have necessary and you want to read along. If I were your enemy, I would send you setback after setback so that instead of persevering and developing wisdom and character, you would get angry, discouraged, and quit before your breakthrough. This would be a huge accomplishment because I wouldn't want you knowing that God was simply trying to strengthen you and mature you for greater glory. So I would definitely discourage you from reading James 1, 2 through 4 to keep you from figuring that out. Now I'm going to jump across the page to 246 and read another paragraph. If I were your enemy, I would throw flaming arrows at you and work even harder to get you to stop yourself, especially when you are close to your breakthrough. And I would do everything possible to keep you from reading Ephesians 6, 10 through 20. And you all know that that's the passage about everything is spiritual. So I would do everything possible to keep you from reading Ephesians 6, 10 through 20 and Isaiah 40, 29 through 31, which would show you how to extinguish my flaming arrows and remind you that God strengthens the weary and increases the power of the weak. I would take great delight in seeing you work so hard only to quit just before the finish line. That's a little bit from my book Necessary, and that particular chapter is titled, If I Were Your Enemy. You all need to really read Jeremiah 1:5 and Ephesians 1:5 and realize that you are predestined. God is not making up your life along the way. And if I was your enemy, here's what's so amazing. The enemy knows he can't stop you, but if he can just get you to stop yourself, if he can just get you to think by working on your self-confidence and going out there and accomplishing and trying to achieve all these things and not your worthiness, right? If the enemy can just get you to scroll all day on social media or just get you to be so caught up in having the imposter syndrome that you don't even try. If he can just get you to keep focusing on the past and what didn't work out. If he can just keep you focusing on your current circumstances so you don't believe what's possible. You get my point? That's his strategy because he can't stop you. Romans 8:17, you are an heir of God, my brothers and sisters. I just want to end this by encouraging you all. The world is waiting on you. We need you. We need your story. We need your victories. We need the gifts and talents that God has given you because you are a valuable piece to this beautiful puzzle. You're a valuable instrument in this beautiful orchestra. We need you. And I understand, my dear brothers and sisters, sometimes life gets so hard. And sometimes we are just tired. I had one person today, he said, Z, it's not that I don't want to go out there and give to others, but I first got to make sure that I'm okay. I said, baby, I could not agree with you more. I said, that's what the Unlocking Greatness community is all about. You go and get refueled and get the help that you need for personal, spiritual, and entrepreneur growth and development. Get the help that you need because you're right. You can't pour from an empty cup. But don't you stay low for too long because you were meant to rise. Growing is not an option, you all. It's a responsibility. So let me remind you one more time. You, my dear brothers and sisters, are loved. You are a blessing. You are still a blessing. And God is going to use you. I pray that God uses you so greatly. I pray that not only this year, I pray that this month things begin to change in your life in ways you've never even imagined. That this is only the beginning. I love you all. I want to encourage you. If you're not a part of a good mentorship community, the Unlocking Greatness community welcomes you with wide open arms to get the help that you need, or get yourself into a good local church or good community organization where you're going to get some help, get the help that you need, get in a positive, supportive environment The enemy loves to get us alone and start feeding us lies. And many times you can't see your blind spots when it's just you. So I highly encourage you to get the help that you need. We're having open enrollment right now, so you all are more than welcome to join, especially while the introductory rates are rolled back right now. Just go to unlockinggreatness.com to join. But I love you all. I love you. I love you. I love you. Know that you are a blessing. You are needed. You are wanted. We're waiting on you. You're listening to Unlocking Greatness Podcast with Zenja Glass. I love you all.